Today, on this new episode of Esto, as PGA Tour Latinoamérica, we travel to Ecuador and Colombia for two well-known events with new names. The Kia Open and the Colombia Classic, presented by Rocha Brothers.
De sus palabras saco y digo que esta es la semana preferida de los jugadores del PGA Tour Latinoamérica, así que el trabajo que hemos hecho durante 9 años con este torneo ha sido tan importante.
On our way to the end of the 2022-23 season. Who will enter the final stretch of our calendar as the Totalplay Cup leader? Competition is fierce, the season is coming to a close, and players are running out of time to climb up the standings. Esto, as PGA Tour Latinoamérica. The eighth event of the 2022-23 PGA Tour Latinoamérica season brought players once again to the iconic city of Quito.
It's great to be back in Quito. Got some great memories here. Love the golf course, people are great. Anywhere that you've had success is good.
The ninth edition of the Kia Open was unique, not only for the local hospitality, but also because of the elevation that players have to compete at each year.
It's a really cool experience. We don't get to do this a whole lot. It adds another element of fun to us because it makes golf that little bit different. This is definitely the highest altitude I've played at. It's definitely noticeable in the ball flight, like the ball stays in the air forever.
Quito, Ecuador, also known as La Mitad del Mundo, half of the world, sits at 9,350 feet above sea level, and definitely forces veterans and rookies alike to reevaluate the clubs they hit and how they play the course.
You got to be smart with it. You got to kind of think your way around this place, and it makes it a little bit more tough not knowing exactly how far the ball's going sometimes.
But it can be an especially difficult adjustment for those in the city for the first time. Not only does the thin air make breathing difficult, but players had to go to their special Ecuador yardage book more than usual. Most players admit, because of the altitude of Quito Tennis and Golf Club, there's often a 2-club adjustment with their long shots. Their yardage books and caddies become even more valuable than normal. 144 players from 19 countries returned to the par 71 7,412-yard course to see how they would fare in what is one of the most unique venues on tour. The first round was marked with plenty of low rounds and good shots. With a total of 26 players scoring between 64 and 69, it appeared it would be a week with plenty of competition. Finland's Toni Hakula, the owner of the 64, was the leader after 18 holes. Tied for second was Jamie Lopez Rivarola, just one shot behind Hakula.
Kept the ball in play, kept it in front of me, hit it really good from the tee with my irons, putted well. I mean, that's kind of what it took, so I played very well today.
While Gustavo Silva had the shot of the day. He made a hole-in-one to cap his bogey-free day with his 8-iron from 164 yards. His ball took a quick bounce and went right into the hole.
Vi que había salido en línea la bandera, me agacho a recoger el tee, a tirarlo a su lado para que les jugaran mis compañeros. Y en el momento que me agacho, mis compañeros los veo levantando los brazos, miro después hacia la bandera. Y el grupo de adelante también estaba celebrando. Yo, la verdad, no me había dado cuenta. Nada, creo que fue uno de los mejores swings que he hecho este último tiempo y por suerte terminó adentro.
Round 2 was full of great shots and low rounds, but those on top of the leaderboard changed. A hole out for eagle on hole 17, followed by a 20-foot putt for birdie, helped Mexico's Armando Favela to a 9-under 65.
Llevo pegándole 2 días espectacular, la verdad. Llevo solo 2 fairways fallados desde 28. Ayer fallé 3 greens, hoy fallé 2. Muchas oportunidades de birdie. Pude aprovechar las que me di hoy. Y el hole out en el 17 de 96 yardas para cerrar. Y luego birdie el 18, pues Voy a cenar bastante rico ahí.
Even with Favela was Argentino's Franco Romero, who followed his opening 68 with a one-stroke better 67 to match Favela through 36 holes. The two providing the number to beat heading into the weekend. A quartet of players, France's Jeremy Gandon, Argentina's Matthias Samaski, and U.S. players Garrett Reband and Dalen Rifiaglu, only 2 shots behind. A total of 60 players made the cut, leaving them to battle for the 8th title of the 2022-23 PGA Tour Latinoamérica season. Players found clouds greeting them Saturday, with a few drops of rain falling in the middle of the day to make things even more interesting. The change in weather certainly didn't slow the players' momentum or their ability to go low. Once again, the leaderboard looked a bit different, with a few different names appearing in contention.
It was moving day. I knew I needed to make something happen and put myself up there in a position to win tomorrow. Happy with how I played, hit the ball really well, didn't really make any mistakes, and felt really good.
Chief among those was Reband, shooting a low of the week tying 64, making 8 birdies on his bogey-free round. He called his round boring, and while it may have felt that way to the former University of Oklahoma standout, it looked anything but that as he put himself in position as the man to beat on Sunday.
Played 4 events so far, missed every cut. Last week I could see it was starting to move in the right direction, even though I didn't play that well. And then this week I felt comfortable since I stepped on the course on Monday.
U.S. player Beau Brial looked like he might be on his way to the top of the leaderboard once the day concluded, as he made 8 birdies on his first 14 holes, getting him to 14 under for the tournament. He faltered a bit coming in, making a couple of bogeys down the stretch, dropping him into second place, 3 shots behind Reband. Favela, the 36-hole leader, began the day ahead by 1 shot, but after carting a round of 70, he dropped into a tie for 3rd, alongside Mexico's Alvaro Ortiz and first-round leader Tony Hakula. Stay tuned because after the break, we find out who took home the title from the middle of the world.
You can make a lot of birdies out here if you're hitting it well, which is going to be the game plan for tomorrow, is going to make many birdies as we can.
And then we travel to Colombia for the first of 2 consecutive events in the gateway to South America. Next on Esto, PGA Tour Latinoamérica. Esto, PGA Tour Latinoamérica. Staying patient and persevering is something Finland's Tony Hakala knows something about, and that is exactly what he did to raise the 2nd trophy of his professional career 5 years after his first.
Y ahora sí, es momento de presentarles al campeón del Kia Open 2023 de Finlandia con un score de 272 golpes y 16 bajo el par, Tony Hakala.
It feels awesome. It's been a little while, 5 years since my last and only one so far. It's a pretty big relief finally finishing that last hole and realizing that I won, so it felt great.
After that winning drought, following his title at the 2018 Bupa Match Play outside Cancun, Mexico, Hakala's long-awaited 2nd career victory finally arrived. He certainly didn't forget that feeling, something he was happy to experience once again. Trailing by 4 shots when the final round began, Hakala knew he had work to do, especially since his 2nd round, 4 over 76, forced him to play catch-up on the weekend after taking the opening round lead. Hakala knows better than anybody that golf is full of ups and downs, and that 76 certainly left him down in emotion and on the scoreboard. However, his 7 under 65 put him back in the mix, trailing Reband by 4 shots.
Yeah, without little blunder there on 17, kind of picked the wrong club, but other than that, it was a really good day.
As might be expected, though, it was not an easy road to victory for Hakala, as he made a bogey on his second hole to knock him back even further. Still, he got the job done. With the bogey behind him, Hakala made 1 eagle and 5 birdies and enjoyed a relatively smooth round that led him to victory, finishing at 16 under par and 1 stroke ahead of Argentina's Julian Etulain. Etulain 3-putted for a par on hole 17 and then parred the final hole when he needed a birdie to force a playoff.
So I'm excited to get a couple weeks off and then go to Colombia and Mexico and hopefully keep it rolling and then really chase that top 5 and if not the top spot at the points. So.
What is your favorite Argentinian food?
Comidas favoritas son por lejos las mollejas a la parrilla con limón.
Tiene que ser el asado en casa de un amigo, incluyendo entraña y matambre 100%.
El vacío a la parrilla y en especial si te lo comes en un bodegón en Buenos Aires. Creo que no hay nada más rico que eso.
Los panqueques de dulce de leche son increíbles después de comer, después de una rondita, caen perfecto.
What is your favorite golf course in Argentina?
Mi campo favorito es Yao Yao en Bariloche por las vistas que tiene.
Tuve el placer de jugar el jockey hace poquito en Buenos Aires. La verdad que tener un campo de Alistair Mackenzie impresionante, me encantó.
Mi campo favorito es en Las Praderas porque ahí obtuve mi carnet del PGA Latinoamérica y uno de mis grandes amigos es Augusto Núñez que juega en el PGA Tour y salió de ahí.
Chapelco, porque me encanta el lugar donde está. Me enamoré de San Martín de los Andes cuando fuimos y sí, creo que es mi lugar favorito de Argentina.
What is your favorite place in Argentina?
Villa La Angostura, también un lugar increíble para hacer de todo.
Chapelco, de lo que he conocido Chapelco, las vistas impresionantes.
Tuve la fortuna de vivir un tiempo allá de niño. Me encanta el sector del Obelisco, Puerto Madero, hacia Palermo y Alto Palermo, los restaurantes, los bares, los boliches. Creo que en realidad Buenos Aires todo es espectacular.
Neuquén, me encantó la ruta de los 7 lagos, la manejada de San Martín a Bariloche es algo espectacular y creo que es de mis lugares favoritos en el mundo y espero volver para conocer más de la Patagonia.
From Quito, Ecuador, to Bucaramanga, Colombia, where the elevation is also in play. Not that much different. PGA Tour Latinoamérica players landed on a mountain plateau, the location of Palo Negro International Airport, not far from Ritoque Golf and Country Club. The Colombia Classic, presented by Rocha Brothers, was the season's 9th event as the race heated up for the 2022-23 Totalplay Cup at one of the shortest courses of the season. Ritoque, measuring in at only 6,592 yards, is the kind of course where players know they have to go low, and not just for one day, if they want a chance to win.
Al ser una cancha que no es muy larga y los par 5 todos son con hierro, los segundos tiros se hace un poco más accesible, pero bueno, hay que pasar el corte primero, que son bajos, y después obviamente tratar de apuntar para arriba.
Unique among the Colombian contingent was Mariajo Uribe, an LPGA player and the face of women's golf in Colombia.
Este está siendo mi club en mi casa. Era difícil decir que no, iba a estar acá, entonces es una forma de practicar y de coger buenas sensaciones para lo que se viene.
The native of Bucaramanga became the 3rd female to play in an official tournament, and we quickly figured out who the local fans were rooting for.
No sé cuántas mujeres hayan pasado el corte en un torneo de hombres. Yo sé que Michelle estuvo cerca, pero tampoco hay muchas que juegan. Entonces, sí, digamos que es una primera oportunidad y yo creo que única. No sé si se vuelve a hacer en Ritoque, así que tenía que tomarla y vamos a ver qué pasa.
Playing on top of a mountain certainly has its perks, but if the weather doesn't cooperate, it creates a whole different set of problems. Unfortunately, Thursday was one of those days. Foggy conditions prevailed during most of the morning, and tournament officials had to suspend play twice for a total of 3 hours and 15 minutes of delays, forcing all 72 players that were in the afternoon grouping of tee times to come back Friday morning to finish their rounds.
I got off to a good start. I birdied the 10th hole, which was my first, bogey number 12, with a wedge, and I've been having problems with that. It's probably in my head a bit, and I walked off the green and I said, you know, we're not going to do this again. We've worked hard, and just kind of was nice to myself. And a couple holes later, 2 birdies in a row, and just steady all day. I mean, I hit a lot of fairways. I was only in the rough twice, and it was nice. Made a lot of putts too. With an impressive birdie-eagle birdie-birdie finish for a round of 61, 9 under par, U.S. player Matt Ryan slept as the leader in the clubhouse after 18 holes. 3 shots better than his countrymen Brent Ito, Chris Nido, and Austin Hitt, as well as Mexico's Diego Cordova. Friday was a busy one that had players playing as much as 27 holes in order to finish both their first and second rounds. And not even a stomachache prevented Juan Pablo Luna from turning in a virtuoso performance, playing on a course he knows well, going all the way back to his junior golf years.
A veces pasa que cuando uno está un poco enfermo no forza tanto las cosas y terminan saliendo mejor. Hice todo prácticamente bien, sobre todo el pot. Es un campo pues, que yo conozco mucho. De juvenil practiqué mucho con mi coach Pedro Rusi aquí. Entonces me siento muy cómodo en la cancha y pude hacer todo bien y salieron las cosas.
The Colombian, along with Kentucky's Brandon Doyle, fired identical rounds of 63 and 65 to head into the weekend as the clubhouse leaders at 12 under par.
I played really solid all day, but hitting the ball really good the last 2 days. So made a couple of bogeys, a couple of dumb bogeys in there, just kind of lost focus, but it was a grind. 27 was a lot today, so I was happy to finish well.
However, just like in round 1, the sun set before 43 players were able to complete their 36 holes, forcing them to come back Saturday morning and try their best to not only make the cut, but put themselves in position to contend. Stay tuned, because after the break, the final rounds in Bucaramanga, and the updated standings of our Totalplay Cup after 9 events.
Pues uno nunca sabe cuánto score va a ser, lo único que se puede controlar es la estrategia y la actitud, así que esa es la meta mía todos los días que juego y esa va a ser la misma meta el fin de semana.
All this in a couple minutes. Esto, PGA Tour, Latinoamérica. Esto, PGA Tour, Latinoamérica. Moving day started at 9 a.m. local time. After players, who still had some holes to complete from their second rounds, had 36 holes in the books, tournament officials made the cut and regrouped players and sent them out for round 3. Playing in the last group, Doyle carded a 4 under par 66, 1 bogey and 5 birdies, including the one on his last hole almost in the dark, to remain in the first spot at the top of the leaderboard heading into Sunday.
It really wasn't hard to see until my second shot. Drive was fine, but yeah, it got dark quick because it was just kind of cloudy, so it happens easily here. But yeah, I was happy to make birdie on the last hole and happy to be in the final group tomorrow. It'll be fun.
In solo second was Canada's Stuart McDonald, who also birdied the last hole playing alongside Doyle.
Yeah, Stuart's awesome. He's a good dude. Played really well today too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, so I look forward to it tomorrow.
After his third round 66, McDonald was at 15 under par, trailing Doyle by 1, but 2 shots ahead of the next closest trailing players. They were Davis Shore, with one of the lowest rounds of the day, a 63, and Walker Lee and Andres Gallegos, all tied for third. The 3 players reached 13 under, with Shore joining the final group. Playing on a golf course that presents so many birdie opportunities, the players knew that competition would be fierce on Sunday. It's time to review the best of our players through social media. Let's start with the Dev Series activity. A new stop of the Mexican Professional Tour took place in Morelia, and one of the favorites emerged victorious. Jose de Jesus Rodriguez once again showcased his experience and lifted a new trophy on his home soil. Congratulations, Cameron! 7 years after his first and only victory, Emiliano Grillo returned to the winner's circle on the PGA Tour. The Charles Schwab Challenge witnessed the Argentine lifting the Champions Trophy. The presence of Maria Jose Uribe in the Colombia Classic presented by Rocha brothers created some memorable moments. The Colombian player enjoyed a week in Ruitoque, her home, surrounded by great friends. The final round started with Walker Lee on fire. Trailing by 3 shots at the beginning of the day and playing one group in front of them, the Texas native made 3 birdies on his first 3 holes to set the pace for the day that eventually led to his come-from-behind victory.
Ahora sí es momento de presentarles al campeón del Colombia Classic presentado por Rocha Brothers. Con ustedes, Walker Lee. Hace entrega del cheque como ganador del torneo los hermanos Rocha, por favor.
It's awesome. I'm happy. First time in Colombia. I love it. I love the course. I love the atmosphere. All the fans are great.
After making the turn to the back 9 and birdieing hole number 11, Lee hit his tee shot out of bounds on the par 4 12, but was able to manage the mishit and emerge with minimal damage. Simply a bogey. And he immediately responded with another birdie on 13, getting the stroke right back. Despite 3 bogeys in his final round, his 9 birdies more than offset his miscues, including a 15-foot birdie putt he rolled in on the 72nd hole. That helped him card a 64 and reach 19 under par for the win, beating Austin Hitt by a shot, whose identical 64 left him a shot shy.
Playing relatively solid all year. I scrambled well in Peru and finished top 10, and then I actually played pretty well in Quito and finished like 29th. So I knew my game was close, and to see it finally pay off is fulfilling.
Alone in 3rd place was Stuart McDonald. He had a brief sense of what victory might taste like when he took the lead late, hitting 19 under after the 13th hole. McDonald let the wind slip through his hands when he made 3 consecutive bogeys, starting on number 14. He did finish with a birdie on the last to finish 2 strokes behind Lee and alone in 3rd.
I'm ready for Bogota, I'm ready for Mexico, getting closer and closer to home.
With only 3 full field events left to play before the season-ending Bupa Tour Championship, the finish line is getting closer, and each player understands every point counts. Starting the week ranked 16th in the Totalplay Cup standings, the victory moved Walker Lee on top of the chart. Lee moved 7 points in front of Connor Godsey, with Charlie Hillier 42 points behind. Chandler Blanchette in 4th place means that only 65 points separated Lee from Blanchette. The 60th spot on the race for the Totalplay Cup is also up for grabs. A certain segment of the population focusing on that number at this stage of the season. The top 60, after 11 tournaments, will secure their playing cards for the Latin American swing of the recently announced PGA Tour Americas in 2024. Alex Scott, in 60th place, was only 0.15 of a point in front of Matthias Samaski. And a mere 16 points separated the number 69, Rodrigo Lee. So there's still much to play for players who likely don't have a chance at winning the Totalplay Cup. Every player knows it's always good to have a guaranteed place to play. Anything can happen in the last 3 events of the 2022-23 season of the Totalplay Cup, and we'll be here to document it all. On the next episode of Esto, as PGA Tour Latinoamérica, players spend another week in Colombia for the Inter Rapidissimo Golf Championship presented by Volvo. And then players travel to Mexico for the final full-field tournament of the year.
We're excited to once again return to Guadalajara and Atlas Country Club for the Jalisco Open GDL.
All this and much more on the next episode of Esto, PGA Tour Latinoamérica. See you then.